You're a successful, high achieving woman, but when it comes to finding love, you are wondering what is going on? Why is it so hard to attract the right partner in your life? So, today I am bringing you internationally acclaimed love coach Sami Wunder, who to date her company has helped over 10,000 people with over 300 marriages since she started her business just 6 years ago. She shares her story on how she had to really look within as she was the common denominator when it came to relationships and what she learned in the process. She shares her approach to finding love. She talks about the importance of rotational dating. And what I also loved about Sami is she talks about the dynamic of being the breadwinner in her marriage and what it means to really embrace our feminine energy. So, ladies, you are going to love this interview. I also talked to Sami about how she grew her seven-figure business so quickly. It is no surprise what the key was when it came to helping her explode her business. So, get ready for a very inspired living interview with Sami Wunder. Sami Wunder, it is so amazing to have you on the show. You are joining me from Germany today, yes?
I am. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Well, I'm excited to have this conversation because let me tell you, I have a lot of girlfriends that are looking for love, and I have a lot of girlfriends too that we are running businesses, we are moms, and we're looking at how we can keep the spark alive in our relationships. And I know that's something that you talk about. So thrilled to have you on the show. But you know what, Sami? I also love that you are a multi seven figure woman business owner, right? And there are less than 2% of us out there in the world. So love to talk about your growth strategies and what has really taken you to where you are today. But let's go back to where you started. Obviously, you didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a love coach, or did you? How did you get to where you are right now, being the international success that you are?
Yeah, so I think I have two catalysts that brought me to becoming a love coach specializing in working with high achieving women. The first one is my own personal story around my struggles with men and in relationships. I've always been an A-type woman. I mean, let's own it. I have it in me. I'm ambitious. I am competitive. I am always looking to grow, to get better at what I do. And that's just part of who I am. And I am very much a proponent of strong women owning that this is how they were born and this is what's inside them. Um, and yet, while these skills and these amazing strengths that I have always made me a gold medalist at my master's level, I'm a trained economist. I was presenting papers in Columbia University at a very young age. I was not succeeding in my love life because I
Mm,
was transferring these masculine paradigm skills. So these are amazing skills for us women to possess. These amazing skills help us, mother our kids, bring food on the table if we have to. There are so many amazing single
right.
mothers who have to work hard to make the money to provide for the family. And as amazing as these masculine energy skills are, the ability to do, to work, to organize, to plan, to take action, basically, this energy is not our best friend when it comes to our love life. And so I was approaching my love life like a goal, like a project. You like the guy, go after him, try
Right.
to win him,
Conquer the man, right.
conquer the man, win the man,
Right.
make
Yeah.
things happen. And so, long story short, it wasn't working out for me. Man after man was fizzling out. And I always thought it was the men who were the problem. So I would say, oh, he's just a douchebag, or oh, he's just intimidated by a smart and successful woman. He doesn't like a woman with brains. Or these are the men who are always intimidated by women who are successful and intelligent and
Right.
have an opinion.
Right.
And it wasn't until a man that I thought was the one for me broke my heart. So we were dating
Mhm.
intensely for 2 months. I thought, this is it. The
You found
connection
the
was
one.
electric.
Yes.
Exactly. Like the connection was electric. Everything was going really, really well till around the 2 month mark. He again disappeared on me. And I didn't hear from him for a whole 10 days. And I decided to message him and say, hey, what's up? Like, what's wrong?
Why are
And
you
he was
ghosting
like,
me? What is
why are
happening?
you ghosting on me? Exactly. Like you must have, like unless you're dead, if, why aren't you messaging me? And I think the answer is really clear because I'm not interested in you or this is not working out. But I think my ego wasn't ready to hear that. And so I just,
Sure.
covered up, avoided my uncomfortable emotions and messaged him and tried to sort of fix and save the relationship. And he said, honey, you're a wonderful, wonderful girl, but I don't think I'm feeling it. And I don't think I can give you what you want. And I think the pain and the humiliation I felt in my belly that night was
Mm.
so intense that I really decided that I do not want to be in this position ever again. Like, this has to change, this has to stop. And I think it was the first time in my life that I asked the question, where do I need to take ownership here? Because I am the common denominator in all my experiences. Okay.
Mhm.
So
And
I
that can
went,
be a tough question to ask yourself sometimes. Like,
yes,
where
absolutely.
does the responsibility actually end? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially for smart women, because I think we tend to have, high self-confidence and, we think the world of ourselves, which is a good quality to have,
Yes.
only that if it comes without self-reflection and without the humility to be able to look at how are we contributing to this situation. I think that is where the mistakes happen. And so I think I just woke up a more humble person. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
there's something going on, there's something I'm doing here that I need to figure out. And that's when I dived into studying romantic relationships. And let's just say what I learned extends so much deeper than what to text him and when to call him. Like, our romantic relationships are the biggest mirror to our inner world and how we look at ourselves,
Mm.
how we look at men. Our deepest insecurities are triggered in our romantic relationships and how we date and how we show up. And so the messages I learned, I think it's not an exaggeration to say, changed my life forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was dating the most amazing men. They were pursuing me. It was such a massive turnaround for me.
And what was it? Like, what was it that you really took away? We talk so much about feminine energy. Was it just letting more of the man take the lead in the relationship? Or, like, what was the catalyst for you, Sammy, that allowed you to attract who now is your husband?
I would say, Keri, it was so many things. It wasn't just one thing. And that's why I developed my signature process that I call the Sami
Mhm.
Wunder method, soulmate attraction method. And the first one was, if I were to just, list out a few bullets, it's a 6-step method. The first one is, always about releasing your limiting beliefs. Like, I had so many limiting beliefs about what's possible in love. So I would always say, like, it's not
Mhm.
possible to have both love and success. You have to choose between a great guy and great career. And so when I was doing this work on myself, I just recognized that, oh my God, like, this is such a limiting belief. Like, if
Yes.
Beyonce can have both love and success, why can't I have both love and success? So that's just an example of a limiting belief. So I looked at my limiting beliefs, I released them. Number 2 is always self-love and self-esteem, and we get the love we think we deserve. And so I was always accepting breadcrumbs of attention from men
Mm.
and falling in love with men who were not really making an effort to impress me, not really making an effort to even sometimes take me out on a proper romantic dinner. But I would just be all over them and just, like,
Yeah.
fall in love with the potential of who the guy can be
Okay,
versus.
wait. I love that so much. Fall in love with the potential of the man, right? And I think that as women too, that we see potential. We're building businesses around potential. So when we find someone that there's like a breadcrumb of possibility, we're like, I can help this person, but we don't want to attract the breadcrumbs, right?
No, you want to attract the
No.
whole meal. You want to attract the whole
Yeah.
enchilada. Why do you just want the breadcrumbs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's step 2 in the process, which is self-love and knowing that you're worthy of an amazing man. And,
Hmm.
getting clear on what is it that I'm looking for. So, defining my non-negotiables, my deal breakers. Number 3 is getting over intimacy fear. So now we're into the Wunder method, and I'll just go through over it quickly because I still
Sure.
remember we have to get to how I became a love coach. But number
Yes.
3 is releasing intimacy fears. So it's so interesting. that I went about consciously saying I wanted love, but whenever a good guy showed up at my door and I was actually interested in me, I would totally freak out. I was so used to the unavailable men who were not emotionally
Mm,
available for a real relationship that when a real person showed up, I would just freak out. I would start to
yeah.
nitpick. I would start to find fault. I would start to like say that he's boring because he's interested in me. And then I would still run off to the men who were
Wasn't
not interested
available.
in me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
So,
self-sabotage because of
yeah,
the fear of that
absolutely.
intimacy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So step number 3 in my method is, releasing those intimacy fears. Step number 4 is rotational dating. So this is something I love talking
Yeah.
about.
Let's talk. I was watching a video when you were talking about rotational dating. And, I know people say, gosh, don't date too many guys at once or go out there and date all these guys. So what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, so rotational dating is not rotational sleeping, so nobody has to feel slutty about, doing rotational dating. It's actually a very dignified way of showing up. It's the traditional way of courtship, and I'm nobody's girlfriend. I'm gonna see you and date you till I am your fiance, right? So
Mm,
that's what rotational dating is. That's what I did. My story's been covered in Time Magazine, Business Insider. Everybody loves hearing my story with Chris because I was dating him and I was dating 2 other men at the same time. I wasn't sleeping with any of them, but I was like,
right.
dude, I'm not in college anymore. Like, this is girlfriend, boyfriend is what teenagers do, and
Yeah.
I'm very flattered you want me to be your girlfriend. But then I would rather keep my options open for a man who knows I'm worthy of being his wife. So, let's just keep seeing each other till you know I'm the one for you or not, forever, not just for now, not just girlfriend,
Okay, so
but
I find this
forever.
so fascinating because, and I'll just be really honest, when I started dating my husband, Michael, who's actually from Denmark, where I saw you and Chris had a wedding there, after about 3 months, I was like, so are we committed? Like, what's the deal? Like, and because I think that's kind of how we've been raised to look at relationships is that, monogamy is one thing, but looking at the commitment of it, and you're like, no, do not commit until like there's a ring on the finger. I mean,
Bold.
that seems bold. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
We're trained to really value girlfriend, the title of the girlfriend. But look at how many girlfriends never become wives.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
And quite frankly, when I was in my 40s and a girlfriend, it didn't feel that great, I have to say. I'm like, don't call me your girlfriend. It was so great when I was finally fiance. I'm like, okay, this feels so
I
much
know.
better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to own that. We just need to
Hmm.
own that. Like I work with high achieving women, a lot of them spend time, money on building their careers. And then they find me at 38, 39, 40, 42, and their biological clock is ticking. And I know
Yeah,
some women hate hearing that word, but let's again own this. If you want children, it's important. Your timing is important. You can't just
it
like
is.
wash over it and say it doesn't matter. And so many of my clients would love to have kids and they end up becoming girlfriends. And then they're like, okay, and is this
You're
going
the
to lead
perpetual
to
girlfriend.
marriage?
Yes.
And then like 6 years of girlfriendhood. What about motherhood? What about marriage? Right. And I'm like, cut through the slack, like
Yeah.
just stop settling for girlfriend. And I think I remember like the look on my husband's face where when I said to him, he asked me at the 2 month mark, he's like, okay, so what's this going on between us? I said, whatever this is, it's really beautiful. I really
Yeah.
love spending time with you. And he's like, okay, would you like to be my girlfriend? And I said, I'm really flattered, but that's stuff I used to do in college and as teenagers, but I'm looking to be wife. And I don't want to put pressure on you. Like, I don't want you to decide today that after 2 months that I'm going to be your wife.
Right.
But until I would like to keep my options open. Yeah.
Wow. That is bold and brave, and I like it.
He was angry. He
And
was really upset.
he was upset,
He was
but he but
upset.
he but he stayed around.
He went quiet on me for I think 3 days. I thought it was over. I thought I was really sad. I thought I lost him, and I was self-soothing myself by saying, "At least you spoke your truth, and at least you did not just settle for a girlfriend title out of fear." And then he called. He said, okay, let's talk about it. Let me understand your expectations. And I just said, I hope you understand that I'm actually making you win the jackpot. Because, in other words, what I'm telling you is if you proposed, I might say yes.
Yeah, but after 2 months, isn't that putting a lot of pressure on the guy to be like, hey, I'm not going to commit to you until you like are ready to propose to me?
Yeah. And you can see it that way. Of course, that's perception. But I think the truth is, this is like freedom to choose. I'm not forcing
Hmm.
anyone. He can leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And he took his time. I mean, he proposed to me at 9 months, but
And you
I
were
wanted
still
to,
dating at that time?
yes, of course, we were
Rotational
still
dating.
dating.
Yeah.
Yes, we were dating.
Yeah.
And what happens with rotational dating, and in my programs, when you go to my website, I have all these self-study programs. I lay out the nuts and bolts of rotational dating. And what starts to happen is around the 3-4 month mark, the main guy or the front runner starts to book so much of your time that it's really hard then to see other men. And that's what
To
Chris,
keep the rotation going. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so Chris just booked all my free time. He was so clever about it. He would ask me like 1 week in advance, like, what are you doing next Saturday? And what are you doing for the holidays? And can I book you? And can I book you? I think he was really smart about it.
Yeah,
And
he caught
sometimes,
on. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes he would come in and he would see some flowers, he wouldn't say anything, but I think he knew that, she's seeing other people. And he was just putting his best foot forward. Like it was very clear to him that I think it was for him to an assessment stage. You can't say
Hmm.
after 2 months that you love somebody and I've had client engagements where, at 3 months, they just know, and my clients have
Hmm.
been proposed and they're very, very happy together with the guy. But my husband took time. I think he was equally evaluating me. But what was different in this process was he was not anymore evaluating me for girlfriend status. He was evaluating me for wife status. And that's
Yeah.
a completely
That's a
different
very different. Yeah.
different level of courtship. The woman also feels the investment of the man, right? So this is like
Hmm.
step number 4 of my soulmate attraction method. Then step number 5 is understanding polarity and the presence of masculine and feminine energies inside a relationship. And so many of my clients, they're 7-figure business owners, CEOs, high achievers, so many people I sign NDAs with because, they never want anybody to know that they're working with
Right.
Sami, right? But these women have a lot of developed masculine energy. So like they're really go-getters and they can, take action and do what they want. And then they end up attracting men who are more on the feminine side, like more laid back, more, not providers, not givers. And they often come to me and they're like, oh my God, like, I don't find that sexy. Like, why am I doing all the work?
Why is that not sexy? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can
And
imagine so.
yeah, and like, and then I tell them that it's because attraction inside a romantic relationship is based on presence of polarity, means sexual tension in a romantic relationship is based on the presence of polar opposite energies. And if you're going to carry masculine energy on your dates, in your relationship, then you are going to attract men who are going to carry the feminine part, right? And then you can do
I
all the
mean, that
work
makes
part,
sense, right? That
right?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you can do all the work, but what I see is that they get bored afterwards and they get resentful, the ladies, because they tell me, why do I always have to call and set up the date? Why can't he make more effort? Why do I have the best gifts for him and he just has like a greeting card for me on Christmas? You know? And in my work, I call these men project men. They can be wonderful men if they are consciously chosen. They can be really complementary to you and to your
Yeah.
personality. But in my experience, most women are turned on by a guy who's more in control of his life and who can do and give and provide. And so, if you want to attract that kind of partner, you've got to embrace your feminine energy inside your romantic relationships.
So, Sammy, let me ask you this because I remember some girlfriends who were super, high achieving, very successful. And I remember us having the conversation of feeling like they had to dumb it down on dates. Like, I can't come across so smart or so successful. And I'm like, no, do not dumb it down. So, when we're talking about feminine energy versus dumbing it down, like, what is your philosophy there? How do these powerful, successful women have these conversations without seeming like they are too masculine, I guess.
Yeah, great question. So I think the first thing we want to address there is this belief that feminine energy is about dumbing down and playing
Right.
and playing small, because it's a limiting belief. I think if you truly understand what feminine energy is, you will understand that true surrender can only come from inner strength.
Oh, yes.
If I am not trusting myself in a situation, I can never surrender. I must always control.
Hmm.
But if I truly trust myself, and in my work, I call it inner strength in the form of boundaries. Like you can put Sami in any situation, and Sami will relax and feel comfortable. And Sami does not have to lead everything and dominate everything and control everything, because Sami trusts her inner boundaries. And Sami knows that her boundaries keep her safe. So she doesn't have to
Hmm.
micromanage and control and dominate every conversation, right? Sami doesn't
Right.
feel that. And so anybody who says that feminine energy is about dumbing down or playing small doesn't really understand the true essence of femininity, because femininity is so powerful. Femininity is,
Hmm.
it's not, it's not powerless, it is
Right.
powerful. And a lot of the times women who have strong intellect are really smart, when you look at their relationship patterns, you will see that they could appear loud or boisterous, or I'm really strong on the outside, but on the inside they're mushy, they're sensitive,
Yes.
they really
Yes.
care, they really care. And the impression they give to men is that, like, I'm this, like, I don't give a shit about anything and I don't care
Right.
about
I don't
anything.
need help. I don't need support. Yep.
I'm so strong. And I help women turn this around. And I'm like, let him see your soft side. Now, you can judge your own soft side and call it dumb, but I hope you don't do that. I hope you recognize as a woman that your softness is so inviting, your vulnerability is so
Yes.
precious. It's what men are craving to experience, right? So I
Yes.
help them turn this around, and I say, you become soft on the outside, you become strong on the inside. Your boundaries, your self worth, that's your strength. And it is not something that you have to actively project, right? Like I'm sitting on a
Mm.
podcast, and it's nice for me to share very proudly that I run a multi 7-figure business, that I am, the CEO of a successful company, that I am, I have helped over 300 women get engaged and married just in the last 6 years. But if I went on a date and I led with this is projection.
Yeah.
And this is a pick me vibe. This is a vibe that says, here, look at my CV. I am so amazing. I'm so great.
Yep.
Right? Now, this could be the right thing to do in a business interview, in a job interview, in a company meeting. But dating and our romantic relationships are not the right context to lead with these external
And Sammy, I
successes.
think that that's true for even the man to sit down on a first date and all he talks about is how successful he is and how amazing he is and all the things he's accomplished. Like as a woman, we might admire that, but that's gonna not gonna
Connect us.
connect us. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So it's not about dumbing down or playing small. It's about understanding that feminine energy is where your true power resides as a woman. And when you activate that, and thank goodness, you don't have to climb the Mount Everest to embrace feminine energy. God, nature, the universe already gave this power to you as a woman.
Yeah.
And look
Yeah.
at you, Keri. You're sitting there successful and shining. Your feminine energy, this is feminine energy. You don't have to like
Mm.
put on a show to glow this way. I think every woman has this inside of her, and it's about giving herself permission to glow, giving herself permission to
Yes,
be this
absolutely.
soft goddess in front of men. So it's not about dumping down or playing small. It's about shining your light and being comfortable with that feminine light shining through.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this conversation so much, Sammy. I could talk to you for hours on this. I want to pivot just a little bit to the married woman. So let's say you've attracted that man, right? You've gotten married, and now I know because you shared this as well that your husband used to be the breadwinner, and then now you are the breadwinner. And I know that that dynamic for men and women can be a struggle because I think men are conditioned to provide and be, the breadwinner of the family. So let's talk about how to keep that relationship alive and flourishing when you are running a multi seven figure business and you are the breadwinner. Let's talk about that dynamic a little bit.
Yeah. So I think when we first got married, it was very clear to us that Chris would be the breadwinner, and he was very happy in that role. Like he loved providing for me, and we went to Paris. So I can complete the circle of how I became a love coach because I we went to Paris. He got a great job there, and I decided I didn't want a long distance marriage when we got married, and we went. So I decided to move to Paris with my husband, and I didn't speak French. And it made it harder and harder for me to find a job locally. And I was still doing consultancy work for international development organizations, but my heart was not inside it. Like
Hmm.
I knew I had to do something that was more directly impactful positively in people's lives. And that's when I saw a Facebook ad for, do you want to help other people and do you want to train in becoming a coach? And I was like, that's it. That's the
I
sign.
do.
I
Yes.
do. And this is how everything came together. And as I said, there's been no looking back. Our clients get fantastic results. I wake up beaming, joyful, with my inbox full of engagements and marriage pictures. It's
I mean,
just
it's
the
got to
most.
feel so good, Sammy. It's got to feel so good. But you know what I love about what you've done too is that you didn't start a business just based off of an experience that you had. And I'm not saying that for those people who do that. I mean, truly, so much of my business was based off my experiences, but I've invested literally hundreds and thousands of dollars in my coaching, my personal development, business coaches and advisors and mentors. And I know you've invested a lot too. But you actually went and figured out how to coach because the coaching industry is, it's just growing so much all over the world. Everyone says, I want to be a coach, but you actually took the time to figure out what that meant. So I just want to applaud you for that because it's really easy to say, well, I found love, I figured it out. So now I'm going to go coach other people how to do it. But you actually went and learned kind of how to coach, right? And that was
Oh
part of
my
how you
God.
grew your business.
I'm so glad you bring that up, Keri, and we'll get back in a minute to being the
I know
breadwinner.
to the married, right? Yes.
Yeah, but I think this is so important because I think just because I'm a wife, I cannot tell other people how to be a good wife or a good, or find love. I think it is so important to keep our integrity by actually learning the skills that are needed to be able to help other people. So
Say it
I've
again,
invested
sister. Yes.
I've invested over six figures, multi six figures
Yep.
plus in my own mentorship, my own training, and I don't think it ever stops. So of course
It won't. Yeah.
I have my processes that I bring to my clients. I have my, things that I experience as a wife, as a successful woman, but it must always be rooted in real craft as a good coach who's able to listen, who's able to guide people, meet them where they are, etc., etc. Right? So I think it's so important that we are ethical and have
Yes.
integrity
Ethical.
as
Mhm.
coaches, that firstly we embody what we talk about. That is really, really important. Like
Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea to coach other people on having a happy marriage if your own marriage is collapsing. I think it's so important to embody your own work. And I think
Yes.
secondly, it's really important that you take the responsibility at some level for showing up in a way that you can actually help people and help them create the results that you claim you can help them achieve, right? It's not
Oh,
all
and
your.
I know someone's listening right now saying, Amen, girls. Like, keep talking about it because it's so easy to slap a website up and to say, I'm a coach here without really knowing what that means. Or, like you said, walking the talk, being congruent and in integrity with who you say you are. I talk so much about being in alignment with what you say you deliver, who you are. I always say it's like going to the gym and trying to get a trainer who's overweight. It's like, well, that's out of integrity with what I feel like I'm going to receive. So I love this conversation. And I also want to go back really quickly because when you and I both share, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. For the person just starting out, you're not going to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars. Like you might start, and I know you did, with like a $5,000 investment for a coach
Yeah.
versus a 50 or 100,000. So as your business grows, so does the level of coaching and mentorship, because what gets you to six figures doesn't get you to multiple six and beyond. Sami, we're totally going off on a tangent here. I want to swing us back to the marriage dynamic, and then I
Yes,
want to go into this conversation of the money because that's really
sure.
important to me as well.
Yeah. So we started out with Chris being the primary breadwinner. I was really happy. He was providing for everything. And he really supported me with my business. So I started my business while we were in Paris. And he was the one behind me saying, "Come on, Sami, write your ebook. You got this, girl." It was so
Oh,
wonderful. And I
yeah.
remember when I first put my ebook on my website, I said, "This is my process, download it, read it." Nobody bought it. And then I got my first sale and I read it and it was Christopher, my
Oh,
that was so sweet. I still
love
remember that
him.
moment.
Love him.
He
Yes.
was my first, buyer and reader. So as my company started, 2016, we saw traction. First year, six figures, great. Second year, multi six figures. Okay, now we're talking, like now this is already getting in a direction where even great men with great jobs in Germany will not make these salaries that I was sleeping at night. And like in the morning, I would wake up and there were so many sales and PayPals in my, on my phone.
That's a good feeling. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. And it comes with challenges because
Sure.
I would say I've had to do a lot of money mindset work in order to receive this level of wealth and in order to be comfortable with this level of wealth and to know that this will not sabotage my relationship. So I think at multi six figures, I already had this fear come up like, oh my God, like I remember my mom warning me. She's like, "Oh, do you really want to go this big? And it always hurts the egos of men." And I decided to
Wow.
shut this all out. And I told my husband, I said, "Honey, you're so confident, so secure. I trust you. I trust that you're my partner in crime. We're on this boat together." And he said, "Honey, I'm really proud of you, like no worries." And I think the being able to communicate this, being able to see that fear in myself and
Mhm.
and not listening to that voice, saying, thank you for warning me. Thank you, mom, for warning me.
Right.
Thank you, Indian
I'm
relative,
good.
for warning
Yes.
me. Yeah. Thank you, society, for making a woman feel that there's something wrong with her if she's successful and bright and smart. And thank you, society, for making men feel like they are inadequate just because their
Mhm.
wives make more than them suddenly, right? And I think I got over that fear. I just told myself, I said, "No, my husband is secure, he's confident, he's smart, and we'll get through this." And then came seven figures the next year. Now, again, the same crap surfaced because new level, new devil, right? Like new level,
Yes.
new
Ooh,
devil,
new level, new devil. Yes.
right? And so again, the same insecurity stepped up. Oh my God, is my relationship gonna collapse under the pressure of me, being the primary breadwinner? And I can just say that, regular communication is so important. Having a man who is secure in himself and proud of your
Mhm.
success is so important. And
Yes.
also understanding that money is not everything in a relationship. This man loved me when I had no money.
Yeah.
And this man was willing to be there for me and support me when I had nothing. Right. And so he always tells me that you're the same person for me. Like tomorrow, if you had nothing, if your business was to disappear into thin air, you would still have me and I would provide for you and I've got your back. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what being a team looks like. And I think we communicate, we talk about it. I do not like to constantly talk about money in my house. I think there was a time when it was a topic that I'm a seven figure and multi seven figure, coach. Today, it's not a topic anymore. Like
Yeah.
today, we value our
It
time
just is.
as
There's
family.
other things to talk about. Yeah.
Exactly. Today, we value our time as a family that is so much more precious. We like to dream together. We like to build. Like to talk about how we're building our legacy. What is happening in the next years? What excites us? How do we want to stay healthy? How do I, I'm still like 1 year postpartum, so I'm still losing my weight and all of those things.
Yeah.
So today, money is not such a big topic in our household anymore because it's just one of the things. It's nice
Yeah,
to have, but
sure.
life is made of so many other more important things as well.
It really is. Yeah, I agree. And I want to say, and I think you and I can both like come together on this, that we didn't start our businesses because we wanted to create multi seven figure businesses. Like we
No.
started our businesses because passionate about what we were doing and serving people and seeing the results that people get. I will tell you, Sami, it brings me so much joy to see women pursue their passion and to show up, on camera and share their message and transform lives, including their own. And I know for you, you've helped how many? Like over 250 clients get
300
married?
plus at this time. 300.
That's
Yes.
so amazing. It's so amazing. And I always say the more people you serve, the more money you make. But I want to go back to your story because mine is a little bit different. Like it took me a good 10 years to break kind of that 9 years to break that seven. It seems for you, it was relatively quick. Like you were like six, multiple six, seven. And I know there's someone listening and watching right now that's like, okay, good for you, Sami. Like whatever you did, like that is not happening to me. So, can you explain a little bit about the trajectory of your business and what was the catalyst for it growing so quickly? Because in 6 years, to have multiple seven figures, again, that is an anomaly. I wish it wasn't. I wish there was more women experiencing that. But can you share what were the key findings? And I know media was one of them, which we teach a lot here at Inspired Living. So, talk about that for us.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the first thing is being results oriented. Like you've got to be really good at what you do.
Mhm.
I had glaring, blaring testimonials screaming from the rooftops, oh my God, this woman is amazing. Her work works, her process works. And at the start, I was not at all concerned. I mean, I never started out my business thinking I'm going to build a seven-figure plus business. I just
Right.
started wanting to help people, right? And I
And
remember,
that really should be the intention because if money's the driver, you're not going to make it because you got to have the passion to do what you do because being a business owner, I don't think is an easy
no,
feat for
not.
most people.
It's
Yeah.
not, and it's not sustainable, just
Right.
being driven by money. To be honest,
Yeah.
if you're not good at what you do and you just, want to make money, it'll show up. It'll show up in your
It will.
reviews. It will show up online. Like you
Yeah.
cannot sustain this level of success unless you are really good at what you do and you have the integrity to carry that on a long-term basis. So results oriented and being really good at what you do is so important, really helping people get the results. Of course, we're not responsible 100% for anybody's results. People who come to us are responsible for their own results, but your craft and your process has to really hit the nail. Number two would be, I think, having access, as you said, media, having access to platforms where your ideal client is hanging out. So for me, for example, it's such a brilliant story. It's so exciting because I remember the Daily Mail featured me, and they called me the Get the Ring coach because back then I had 95 engagements and they were like, oh my God, you're the best kept secret. Like people need to know about
Get
you.
the ring coach. I love it.
Yes. And what was amazing was I showed up on the Daily Mail. I was called to Get the Ring coach. Then the next morning I woke up and my Instagram message inbox was bursting with journalists from the BBC wanting me to come on TV, Good Morning Britain inviting me, another show inviting me, and New Zealand Herald wanting to write to me, so many podcasts wanting to talk to me. I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing, right? And so I think for me, um, it was so amazing to be on these big platforms and to be able to share my message and to be able to reach the person who really wanted to hear from me. So
Yes.
I could talk all day on my social media, but if the people who are following me are, not really the ones that need my services, then
Yeah.
I could get demotivated so easily, because
Absolutely.
I would think that what I'm saying
No
is
one
not.
cares.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. No one
but
cares.
it was when I started showing up on like Forbes and Business Insider. It was amazing to see that my high achieving client was hanging out there, and then they
Yes.
found me, and girl, like they just straight away came in and they were like, can I work with Sami? Like it wasn't even, can I spend 597 with Sami? It was like, can I spend $50,000 with Sami? Because I trust Sami and I read her about her, and what she does is amazing, right?
Yeah. Yep. So much of what we talk about with our clients is, once you're featured in the media, whether it's true or not, you are positioned as the expert. Like people will seek you out. Like if you're going to be on the Daily, was it the Daily Mail?
Yeah.
Yep, or Forbes or whatever it is, like she must be good. So people don't question your pricing or your program. They're just like, I just want to work with you, which is amazing. And when was I reading, Sami, that you pitched, did you have a publicist or did you do it on your own?
No, I had people helping me. I never had the
Okay.
time to do it myself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we also teach that when you're starting out, you really can pitch yourself. Like we teach you exactly how to do it. And I think that, once you're growing, getting a publicist is an amazing thing, but people wait to get discovered. And I'm like, there's so many platforms, there's so many podcasts, there's so much opportunity for you to go out there and share your message and get media attention. So you would say media was kind of the main catalyst to you exploding your business.
I mean, I would say it was one of the most important
And then
catalysts.
being good at what you do, right?
Yeah.
And
I think
getting the
I think
results.
even if people don't question your prices or your programs and they want to work with you, if you're not good at what you do and your
Yeah,
programs don't get results, I don't think it works in the long run.
right. It
Like
will
people
not.
find out.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So
We
I
call
think
that 15 seconds of fame. That doesn't last. It's not sustainable.
exactly. I
Yeah,
think for it to be sustainable, one always has to go back to the first point, which is results oriented. Like, and we still keep tweaking our promises, our programs, right? Like
yeah,
I still am learning, and every client who comes brings a new angle and a new nuance, and I do my best to add it so that I can serve my client.
yeah,
And I think the third thing would be shifting from one-on-one to group coaching programs, because there came a point, like especially after all this explosion on the bigger platforms, where I just felt like I was going to burn out as a mother,
yeah.
as
You
a young
can't
mother.
sustain that. Yeah,
I remember I had like 28 clients in 1 month, and like so many people asking for my attention, and it was just, I was on the verge of burnout, and I was like, okay, I can't do it anymore. I just have to accept it, and I have to like do one on like group coaching programs. So that was wonderful. That was wonderful because it helped
yeah.
me increase my impact so drastically. I could say the same thing, but now not to one person but to 100 people.
Yeah,
So,
it's
I
a
mean,
game
now we
changer.
have
That
100
whole
people.
scale and leverage conversation. It is. It's a game changer. And you know what? That doesn't mean you have to stop one-on-one, but I'll tell you, you could be making lots of money and have no time or bandwidth to enjoy any of it, which is not inspired living, I would say.
No, it's not at all inspired living. And I mean, back then when I started group coaching, I had like 15 clients in it.
Yeah,
They
we
at
all
my
start somewhere.
Yeah, and today in my
Yeah.
premium programs, which is group coaching 6 months, 6K, 12K plus, we have 100 clients. So this
Yeah.
is this is like the difference today. Yeah.
Yeah. That is so amazing. Sami, I have loved this time with you. I feel like, again, we could talk for hours. Before I wrap up, I definitely want to share how people can connect with you, but I want you to answer this. What does inspired living mean to you?
Ooh, inspired living for me means following my heart and my truth in life.
Mm, love
So
that.
I believe I am at my most potent, powerful self when I am following my heart and my truth every moment, as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Could not agree more. Thank you so much, Sami. If someone wants to learn how to connect with you, how to work with you, how do they do that? Where's the best place?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking this question, Keri. So you can find me on Instagram at Sami Wunder Coach, my official profile with a blue tick on it. And you can also find me on Facebook. I have a very active private Facebook community called Wunder Divas. So
Ooh, I
just
love it.
WUNDER, and that's where you'll see me hanging out very often, giving my tips and sharing my tools. And of course, Keri, we also have a really amazing gift for your audience, which they can find in the show notes. It's a training called Lean In at Work, Lean Back in Love. And it's all about helping high achieving women learn how to embody their feminine energy in romance. So it's both for single women and women in relationships. And for women like us, we've got the masculine nailed down. I think we can safely say that. But but it's the feminine which is still a little vague, a little intriguing, and I break that down in that training, so it's completely free for your audience. And with that comes also a PDF with my top 10 feminine energy scripts to have communications with men on boundaries, sex, getting him to take charge, being a team, household chores, finances.
Okay,
So
I'm reading it, Sami. Thank
so
you.
I
Thank
put
you
it
for
all
thank you
together.
for the gift. You know what? I have to say, it doesn't matter like where you are in life and relationships, like always learning, always growing, is something that we get to do, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna go read that stuff. It sounds
Hey,
good.
girl.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for helping so many women find love, including with themselves. And I just wish you such continued success. Thank you for the beautiful gift for the Inspired Living community. And I really look forward to staying in touch and seeing how much more love you spread in the world. Sami, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Keri, and thank you for being such a wonderful host.
Oh, you're welcome.
You've just heard another uplifting episode of Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast. I hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to know more about Inspired Living or to get your hands on many of our awesome free resources, such as the Be Studio Ready Guide, simply visit us at inspiredliving.tv/podcast. Remember, your vision is your destiny, and we're here to help you bring it to life. Join me again next week for another extraordinary episode.